Good morning. I want you to read the screen right there. Do you see it? 24 days away, 6 hours, 58 minutes. Before Saul Canelo Alvarez, the WBC, IBF, and WBO Ring Magazine, former undisputed champion of the world at 168 pounds. He vacated his IBF title. We're going to talk about that later on in the video. But as you can see there, the pay-per-view, PBC on Amazon. It's also going to be on DAZN. I'm not sure what the exclusivity of being on Prime means if you can buy the fight in multiple places. For example, here in the States, you can buy this fight here, as you can see, on payperview.com, PPV.com. You can buy it on DAZN, and you can buy it on Amazon Prime. So, and God knows where else. So what's the, big deal about being on Amazon? Well, the pay-per-view is going to be $90. And here is the undercard. Now, a lot of people are going to be upset because this is going to be a critical video. I'm not here to stroke off Canelo Alvarez or any of the fighters here. We're talking about bang for the buck in this day and age of boxing. And this is not a $90 pay-per-view card, especially when you have another big pay-per-view going on the same night. UFC 306 over in the Spear. The first sporting event, from my understanding, the first combat sports event in that arena. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to be covering that card and this as well. But to be paying about $180 to watch two pay-per-views in one night, and just, I'm trying to look at the light at the end of the tunnel here. You got Erislandy Lara taking on Garcia. I'm not sure if it's going to be at the catch weight of 155 pounds like it was rumored, but before we talk about that fight, I'm going to make sure I have that information for you. Caleb Plant for the interim WBA Super Middleweight Championship. The WBA is bringing back interim titles versus Trevor McCumby. You've never heard of this guy, have you? And remember, originally, Caleb Plant versus McCumby was supposed to be on, August the 17th. It was supposed to be this past weekend, the 18th, I believe, in Florida, on PBC's first Amazon non-pay-per-view card, but it was put on this card. You got Romero taking on Manuel Jaimes, but then listen to this. You got Fulton, who has a better resume than Romero, taking on Carlos Castro on the prelims. And he doesn't seem to be too thrilled about that. So I am TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360. This is TstreeT Controversy Live. And I got to be honest, I think that Canelo's, he's on his way out the door. In fact, let's go back down memory lane. Please make sure you like the video, subscribe. We're going to be here during fight week for Canelo versus Berlanga. And I'm going to be providing a post-fight video for each of these fights on the main card, including Fulton versus Carlos Castro. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.
Well, we're not even going to let you get a little ice because everybody wants to know what's next. And David Benavides is the person that everybody across this country and across the world would like to see you fight. You said earlier this week you're willing. What are your thoughts now?
I don't know right now. I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna enjoy my family. But if the money is right, I made that call. If the money is right, I can fight right now. I don't give a shit.
So it's only a matter of money?
Yeah. At this point, everybody is asking for everything, right? When I fought with Lara, Trow, Miguel Angel Cotto, Mayweather, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, everybody, they say I'm not going to fight them, and I fought all of them. So right now, I can ask whatever I want, and I can do whatever I want. And I'm Mexican.
Go ahead and tell your folks in Spanish. Go ahead.
Yeah.
So there you had it. This was at the end, the post-fight interview after he had beat Jaime Munguia in his last fight. Now, he's been talking like this for the last year or so now, basically saying that he's fought everyone we fans wanted him to fight. He fought Erislandy Lara, where people didn't think he was going to fight him, and still I give him props for that. He fought Austin Trout, Mayweather, Golovkin, Miguel Cotto, Dimitri Bivol. So now the reason why I say I feel he's 1 foot out the door is because basically he's telling us, look, I'm gonna fight who I want now. I'm gonna do what I want. I can ask for whatever I want, which is why he's asking for $150 million plus $200 million to fight Terrence Crawford. Now, I've always believed that you can duck a fight without, how can I say, actually saying you don't want to fight. You can just simply price yourself out. Now, he has nothing to really gain. Actually he does. He can say, I think it would hold up weight later on in the future, but if he was to beat Terrence Crawford, people would say that he beat a smaller fighter, but if Crawford was to beat him, then Canelo's career would just have a big ass question mark around it because he lost to a fighter moving up. But me personally, I've always felt that Canelo is a 160 pounder, natural weight, fighting at 168, picking and choosing who he wants to fight. And we're going to get to that, but in the meantime, let's talk about the undercard. I'm TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360. Let's start with Stephen Fulton and what he's been up to. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. By the way, Fulton's win over Angelo Leo, who knocked the shit out of Luis Alberto Lopez a couple of weeks ago, has aged really well. I did that video, the post-fight, on my channel. Stephen Fulton has been out for some time now. It don't seem like it's been that long, but it has. In fact, let me go pull up his resume really quick. By the way, once again, here's the card. Stephen Fulton is going to be fighting on the prelims. Do you hear me? So Rolly Romero gets a pay-per-view spot over Stephen Fulton. I'm guessing because Rolly's been on pay-per-view before, and maybe Rolly is considered a more marketable fighter. I'm not saying it, but it just doesn't make sense to me. So Stephen Fulton taking on Carlos Castro, and basically, let me tell you right now, get this out of the way, and I'm going to do it again at the end of the video. I rate this card on a scale of 1 to 10. I give it a 6. A to F scale, I give it a C, and that's very close to that's not a C minus, it's not a C plus. C plus is close to a B. B minus. This is not a B card. Because when you really think about it, the only fight that really has some sort of real significance is Lara versus Danny Garcia. And when it comes to Canelo versus Berlanga, we're trying to see if Berlanga can, knock Canelo out, or if Canelo's gotten old to where a young guy who's never done nothing really in the division like a Berlanga can somehow, Puerto Rican power, beat Canelo. I just don't see it. So Stephen Fulton, 21-1 with 8 KOs. He fought Naoya Inoue back in July of last year. So here we are, nearly a 14-month layoff. Very common over there for those PBC fighters. However, they are getting better because their fighters are now fighting for other outfits. For example, Vito Malnicki fighting over on Top Rank. The Saudis getting their hands on a few PBC fighters. So the fight was over in Japan. I remember there was a lot of speculation on whether it was his promotional team. That he had to push his promotional team to make that fight. It hasn't been really confirmed. But from my understanding, from what was going around, was that Stephen Fulton really pushed for this fight, and his team, kind of similar to what we know about Errol Spence and Al Heyman, and Heyman trying to keep Spence away from Crawford. It was looking like, public opinion was saying that it was Stephen Fulton feathering his cap that really pushed for the big money payday over in Japan. And also, I learned, not even 5 years ago, basically, he had a nice little growing fan base over in Japan, meaning Stephen Fulton, because they were already anticipating him in a fight with Inoue. So he hasn't been around, and he's fighting on prelims. I can understand why he's upset. In fact, let me see. He posted it somewhere here. I think he took it down. He took it down. He had a post up about fighting on the prelims. I'm cool with taking the blame now for what? Originally, him and Caleb Plant was supposed to headline a PBC card that was supposed to take place this past weekend. Caleb Plant was going to fight Trevor McCumby, and I believe that Stephen Fulton was linked to Ronnie Rios, but allegedly McCumby got a injury. It just didn't make any sense to me. And the card was going to take place down in Florida, and now Tim Tszyu is going to be taking that card in Florida, regular Amazon Prime, when he's going to be taking on Bakram Murtazalia for the IBF title, hoping to get Erickson Lubin after that. Well, fight Erickson Lubin. Erickson Lubin likely will be the next IBF mandatory, and then Fundora Spence winner, a fight that they keep trying to push through. So when it comes to Carlos Castro, then basically this is a showcase get back fight for Stephen Fulton. That's pretty much all it is. By the way, look at this shit. This shit still bothering me. $89.99 for this pay-per-view. They are wild. And this is no disrespect to Stephen Fulton, but it's like in this day and age where we got the Saudis putting on significant cards, and right now pay-per-view buys are drying up. Streaming is at an all-time high. Fighters can only get one of these fights before you got to really get back at it. So it's like, all right, cool. Fight Carlos Castro, but then your next fight got to be something significant in this landscape. And when you look at Carlos Castro's on paper, it looked like it's going to be a fun fight. I covered when he got knocked out by Figueroa. By the way, that's a rematch they can possibly, look into. Lost to Luis Nery. His only 2 losses, by the way. So it'll be a fun get back fight. It's a pay-per-view opener type of fight, I admit. But it really doesn't do anything for Stephen Fulton outside of, it's like, all right, it's time for you to, be active. So it's going to be interesting to see what route he's going to take next. And also, I'm guessing he's moving up to 126 because Carlos Castro, is up there. He's been floating around between 122 and 126. Interested to see where this fight's going to take place. So I got Stephen Fulton. I don't see a knockout. For some reason, I'm expecting for it to be a little bit of a rough night for him, mostly because he's coming off a layoff against a Mexican fighter. And these days, you never know with these Mexican fighters. You never know. They'll pop out and knock your ass out. But he's not known for... That's a nice KO ratio. So I'm not going to say he don't got no power, or it may not happen. So interesting fight, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Now, who I would like to see Fulton fight next? Let's see. Well, to be honest, 126, all he's going to do is run into eventually. I mean, if he stays at 122, all he's going to do is run into Inoue again. Inoue is fighting TJ Doheny in a couple of weeks. I believe that's September the 8th. Sam Goodman is the next in line. So Inoue is pretty much tied up. And also, he's saying he wants to stay at 122 for a little while. And he's got a big potential fight that I can't wait to see against Junto Nakatani. And as you can see, between 115, 115, 118, 122, the Japanese are taking over. So I think it's in his best interest to start heading up to 126, because as you can see, plenty of fights out there for him to get. He can get that Figueroa rematch. That's over on the PBC side. Angelio Leo rematch is right there. Nick Ball possible, Ray Vargas possible, Rafael. These are fights that are possible, especially that we're seeing that the Saudis have a relationship with PBC and Top Rank, and they're putting these guys together to fight. So I think 120. Oh, there he is. He is at 126. So there you go. Boom. Number 2 by the WBA. Number 7 by the WBC. And shockingly, not ranked by the WBO, despite there he is, number 8. But he's not ranked by the IBF. So there you go. He's up there in the rankings. Carlos Castro is ranked number 5, so at least he's ranked by the WBC. So this may be the route that he's going. And don't be surprised if this ends up being a final. I mean, some type of eliminator. We find out on like fight night or fight week that the winner of this is going to have one more fight, and then they can possibly fight for a title shot. Will not be surprised. But I think the Brandon Figueroa rematch is the way to go. My personal opinion. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I wonder if we have any face-offs from Fulton and Castro. I believe we do. I couldn't seem to find a face-off of them. I don't think he was at the press conference, but here is the undercard. I mean, the prelim card. So starting at 6 p.m. Eastern, it's going to open up with Jonathan Lopez taking on a Richard Medina, Roman Villa taking on a Ricardo Salas, and Fulton taking on Carlos Castro. So those are the 3 fights before they lead into the pay-per-view. That's going to open up with the next fighter we're going to talk about. The pay-per-view star, I guess, Rolly Romero, who's going to be opening up the Canelo versus Berlanga undercard, taking on Manuel Jaimes. And Rolly is just, the underachieving, overachieving, consistently inconsistent fighter. 15-2 with 13 KOs, the highest of the highs, the lowest of the lows, 28 years old. Last fight got a shit pushed in by Isaac Cruz. As you know, Isaac Cruz just was upset. A lot of people think it's an upset, but I really don't. By Rayo Valenzuela just a couple of weeks ago on the Crawford versus Madrimov undercard. So he got knocked out by Isaac Cruz. He should have lost to Ismael Barroso and got knocked out by Tank Davis. So in reality, he could have 3 straight losses. And the Anthony Can You Dig It Yig It, very long in the tooth Anthony Giggett, really hard, wasn't really in it. He was fighting for the money. The only real solid, somewhat credible win he got in the last few years, I'm going to say Avery Sparrow. And Avery Sparrow, is a bit of a head case. But very underwhelming resume, pretty much just fell to the top, if that makes sense. So I won't be surprised, this fighter, I won't be surprised if he beats Rolly. That's how I think of Rolly. Never heard of this guy. Let me see if I can find some tape. I know I've seen him somewhere before. That face looks familiar. He got that Stockton face. I've seen this dude before. We're on one of these cards. Modesto. Let's see if we can find it. I've seen you somewhere before, mate. I'm gonna tell y'all where y'all seen him at. He probably was deep on some undercard somewhere, and you probably was doing something in the background, getting ready for the main card, but you seen this guy before. Let me see if we can find him. Where you been? No, I haven't seen this card. That wasn't even televised. Were you on this card? No, he wasn't on that card. Was you on this card? No, maybe I didn't see this bloke before. That's even worse. He wasn't. Damn, so dude been on club shows, opening up the pay-per-view over Stephen Fulton. I'll be gosh doggone it. Damn, so he hasn't been on any type of cards of significance. So I've never seen this dude before. So I'm guessing they just trying to get Rolly a win. Is that what it's looking like, to try and get Rolly a win? By slapping him up in here against this young 24-year-old. But then knowing Rolly, you know he's a little, how they used to say back in the day, a little touched. There you go. Gifted. No, I think the touched. Yeah. So, I wouldn't be surprised if this dude, beats Rolly. But let's see, where's Rolly fighting? Is he still staying at 140? So this guy's a 140, 135er, okay. Basically, I'm guessing take a 140 fights for the money. I'm guessing. Because Rolly is huge. Let me see. Did Rolly attend the press conference? Let me go check.
Defeats.
There go my man.
Rolly Romero.
Go Rolly. Let's see what he had to say.
I just want to let everybody know I'm just happy to be here again and, just give you guys a great show once again.
That will open up our pay-per-view event on September 14th. So let's hear from both men now.
Oh, wait, hold on. Let me go back.
Are in a fight against a guy that has never been in a top event. Do you believe your experience?
Oh, well, at least they talked about it. By the way, that is Ray Flores' brother. I forgot his name. Is it Brandon Flores? I think it's Brandon. So this was the LA press conference, the last of the 2-city press tour for this card. As you can see, you got Rolly and Manuel Jaimes on the stage. You got Caleb Plant and McCumby, Make America Great Again, McCumby. You got Lara versus Stephen Fulton. I mean, fucking Stephen Fulton. Lara versus Danny Garcia. Stephen Fulton is not there.
In your fight against Jaimes.
Well, a lot of people fall when they see some big lights. So, I mean, but you also gotta look at it like this too. I mean, I have a lot of experience going to a lot of big fights. I've also had success in. So, you know, I mean, he's a puncher, right? So, let's see what he does.
Back to you, Jaimes. You have won 4 straight. You heard Rolly's been in these big time fights, but what has been working so well for you, and how can you pull off the upset on September 14th?
I mean, yeah, he has experience in the big fights, but it's not like I'm not experienced as a fighter. I've been fighting since I was 8 years old, so I've been around. I'm training at Robert Garcia's gym, getting rounds in down there. So there's not going to be a difference in the IQ of my boxing compared to his. So. I mean, I know he's been here. I know he was a world champion. So, I mean, I need to win this fight. I'm gonna win this fight. I need. It's gonna catapult my career pretty much.
Rolly had that bullshit WBA belt that he wasn't supposed to have. By the way, where you at, Rolly? Let's go see this face off.
Fighting out of.
By the way, I'm seeing this dude beating Rolly. Like, I'm not giving Rolly no faith. I have no faith in you, Rolly. I got no faith in the homie. Damn, did they give up my man Carlos? Jaimes some music? There we go. See, they walking all regular like that. He's never been on the stage. Man, he gonna whoop Rolly ass. I can see it. I can see it. I just want to see the face off, because this boat looks a little small. But Robert Garcia, Jim, been having a good year, man. So at least you know them guys are going to come to fight. You know, he going to throw some bombs. So, see, here's the thing. The card is going to be exciting. I have no...
of 2 defeats, fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. He is one of the most unique and powerful fighters in the sport. The former WBA super lightweight world champion, Rolando Rolly Romero.
Yeah, let me mute that. Like he's going to get his Make-A-Wish award. Nope. All right, not that much of a size difference. I wonder what's going to be next for Rolly. Let's go look at the rankings real quick. Assuming this fight, I'm pretty sure it's going to be at 140. I wouldn't be surprised if it's at like 142 or something. Let's go look at the rankings at 140. Take a little gander and see who we might want to see Rolly fight next. Let's see here. So let's break down the 140-pound division. Alberto Puello is likely going to be fighting Sandor Martin. Devin Haney is a champion in recess. Turkey Al-Sheikh is trying to put together a Ryan Garcia-Devin Haney rematch, but Ryan Garcia is a fucking bigot. I'll never forget what he said. A drunk, bigot, drug cheat. Leave that alone. Rayo beat Isaac Cruz, and Rayo now should have to fight Ismael Barroso to eliminate that bullshit WBA title. Remember, Ismael Barroso should have beat Rolly Romero, and he put O'Hara Davies' dick in the dirt. Liam Parrell got that upset win over Sabril Matias. He's supposed to be returning in November or so, likely in Australia. Do not be surprised, however, if he has to be forced to fight Richardson Hitchens in his first. I believe that he does get a voluntary, but Richardson Hitchens is the mandatory. And Teofimo Lopez, well, he turned down the fight with Brian Norman, even though he wanted to fight Brian Norman at 147 for the WBO 147-pound title. So he's pretty much 1 foot out the door of 140-pound division. Teofimo Lopez. You got Arnold Barboza and forgot the doggone, what's his name? I forgot his name. Jose Ramirez. Possibly hooking up for a fight soon, a fight that I feel should have happened a few years ago, but they were under the same management. And then you have Jack Catterall, Rodriguez Prograis is coming up. So that's the 140-pound division. Where does Rolly fit in? Well, would you entertain Ruler Romero versus Gary Antoine Russell? That's a PBC fight, logical to make. Rolly gonna get his shit pushed in. I think that's the logical way to go. Bakhtir Akhmedov, also over there on the PBC side, still, I believe. But it's going to be a long time, before Rolly, put it this way, I don't think he's going to ever sniff a title shot again, my personal opinion. And I'm not trying to be hard on the bloke. I'm just saying, that's the way the cookie crumbles. But as I was saying, see, the card is not, it's going to be some exciting fights. For example, Stephen Fulton might get tested. Rolly Romero might get knocked out. But is that what we're paying for? And we don't know who Trevor McCumby is. And we're going to talk about that fight next, by the way. Caleb Plant is hilarious. He can be a bit arrogant. Don't get me wrong. That's not just me saying it. It's well known. He can be a little bit something. Hey, let's see. Where you at? Where you at? Oh, here we are. Let's go back to the face-off. Okay, I like the handlebars. I like the handlebar mustache. That's Caleb Plant's opponent. Caleb Plant's first fight back after losing to, here, let me pull his resume up. After losing to David Benavidez in a spirited performance. He didn't get knocked out, so that's what's up, I guess. Him and Edgar Berlanga had some words. And also, remember, Caleb Plant's a menace. He smacked the shit out of Jamal Charlo. Jamal Charlo ain't been seen since. They had a mental collapse. Get well soon, Jamal Charlo. He sent some goons after Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia is just a fucking pervert, man. Can't stand him. You go Sweet Hands. I think that he's peaked as well. Don't get me wrong. Good fighter. But I just don't, it's hard to see. He might see a championship again. He might see a belt again if Canelo retires or moves up. He could possibly pick up a WBA world title since they bringing that bullshit back. But as far as, I've never considered Caleb Plant really elite. And we're going to break down his resume. Don't get me wrong. Good fighter. Good fighter. I'm not gonna say a great fighter. That's not my, he would say he's a great fighter. He likes to get a little arrogant. You would say, you're a very good fighter, Caleb Plant. I'm a great fighter. And he'll tell you what to tell him he is. He that type of dude. Am I muted? What are they saying? Y'all saying something? I'm talking some shit. The husband of the very classy and beautiful Jordan Plant, PBC analyst.
Plant and McCumby will meet in a 12-round bout for the interim WBA super middleweight world title.
You think McCumby got a chance? He ain't never do nothing. And don't get me wrong, Caleb got some power when he want to knock your ass out. Let's go do a little bit of research on Mr. Trevor McCumby. Let's see what they have to say.
By knockout, plans to join the top elite 168-pounders with a big win over Caleb Plant. Let's hear from Trevor McCumby.
How's it going, guys?
What's up, Trevor?
Really good to see all of you. Happy to be here in the Beverly Hills. I want to thank the Prince of Prince, King of Kings, Lord of Lords, Jesus Christ, for this opportunity. Tom Brown, Louis DeCubas, PBC, Gary Jonas, and Andrew McDonald. We're here, man, and we still got some training to do, but we're training really, really hard, and I'm going to show you guys what I'm all about on the 14th of September.
Oh, yeah?
All right, let's hear from his opponent, that man that is 22-2 with 13 by knockout, one of the most popular fighters today, the former IBF super middleweight champion, looking to become a two-time champion, Caleb Plant.
What's going on, everybody? Just want to, thank everybody that came out today to show support for this stacked card that we got on September 14th at the T-Mobile. And, I want to thank Al Heyman. I want to thank my manager, Luis DeCubis, TGB, Prime Video, and shout out to my folks from Tustin, T-Town in the building. So definitely appreciate that. And, yeah, I know I've been out of the ring for a minute, but I can assure you guys I've been using my time wisely. And even with all the big fights I've had, I'm proud to say that September 14th, you guys will see the best Caleb Plant that you've seen yet. And, this guy T-Rev over here, he wants to be part of the big leagues. And like I said before, what he thinks he's going to get and what's going to happen, two different things. This guy, he's been making Instagram videos with my name in it, talking about, certain guys who don't respect the sport, certain guys who get a couple big paydays and they just go, wallow in their money. And it's crazy to me that someone like him could make a video about me talking about guys who don't respect the sport. Because I respect the sport enough to step up with only 17 fights to fight a world champion, Jose Uscati, coming off a year layoff as an underdog, coming off a broke hand. Do you respect the sport enough to do that?
Oh, shit.
I respect the sport enough to not be a 31, 32-year-old prospect. Do you? I respect the sport enough to be a clean athlete. What about you? Huh?
I do.
You respect the sport enough to be a clean athlete? I read differently.
Ooh.
So, I respect the sport enough to not go on a 4-year break from it like you. So
Wait a
It
minute.
don't make no sense to me that out of everyone in boxing, you're going to make a video about me, Caleb Plant, not respecting the sport? You know me, I live and die by this. Live by the sword, die by the sword. So September 14th, make sure you save that money because that's your first and your last big payday. I promise you that.
So wait a minute. What video did he make? Is it this one?
Just come with some knowledge, do your homework. Promoters are on the fighter's side, which they should be.
What are you talking about, Trevor? What are you talking
Guys,
about?
Google is free. You can compare resumes, you can look at past title defenses, and you can tell me who ain't fought nobody. Just come with some knowledge, do your homework. Promoters are on the fighter's side, which they should be. And I'm willing to make those big fights, and that's all I'm saying. You guys have a good day. God bless.
Man, where's this YouTube video at? What shit was he talking? Is Caleb Plant just making stuff up? I know he's not. I'm just saying. So let's go look at Mr. McCumby's resume. Ain't nothing there. And also, why did he take that long layoff from the sport? And what is Caleb Plant hinting at? Like, what did McCumby do? Did he do something he wasn't supposed to do? I haven't heard anything. And by the way, yes, it's nothing on his resume of note. I mean, I know Chris Pearson, but for the most part, he's supposed to be a tune-up for Caleb Plant. 28-0 with 21 KOs. I mean, that power, though, you can't, it's something there. In fact, let me go see if I can find a little clip of him knocking somebody out. Hold on, I'll be right back. Okay, through my little 2-minute investigation, I've learned that he fought on a top rank card back in 2018, November the 16th. He knocked somebody out. This doesn't show me anything. It doesn't give me what I need. I want a little short clip of him knocking somebody out. Where we at? I can't find no tape. Let me see. Trevor McCumby verse. Let's see. Are you on here? Let's see. What is this tape? Is that you, McCumby, with the jab? Shit, this was 10 years ago. That ain't gonna help me. I don't want to watch no tape from 10 years ago. Let's see what we can do. This guy don't got no tape. What's this? Some tape? This was from a year ago. He fought a Sharif Hayes. Trevor McCumby. Let's see. Let's pull up the resume right here. When was that? Well, shit. Where these old ass fights come from? He not even on. Oh, this was his debut. I don't want to, you know what? I'm looking for tape in real time and I can't find none. So I can't pick you to beat Caleb Plant, Trevor McCumby. You never even been on no type of stage. No big stage, no little stage, no type of stage on YouTube. He don't got no stage. By the way, this fucking pay-per-view is $89.99. They done lost their minds. They done lost their minds. So what's next for Caleb Plant? He's supposed to be fighting for the WBA interim title because, see, what happened is both David Morrell, he's gone. He's moved up to 175. Benavidez moved up to 175. Berlanga is the mandatory all of a sudden for Canelo. William Skull and Christian Mbili should be fighting for the vacant. Actually, no. It's probably going to be William Skull and Vladimir Shishkin fighting for the vacant IBF because William Skull was ordered to fight Canelo and Canelo was like, nah, we ain't fighting him. Caleb Plant's fighting to be the next WBA mandatory against Trevor McCumby. But realistically, I don't see no Canelo versus Caleb Plant rematch. So who should Caleb Plant fight next? Jaime Munguia, who's going to be fighting to be the WBO mandatory, from my understanding, against Eric Bazanian. And that fight is going to be when? That's coming up in like a few weeks. It's going to be on ESPN, though, Top Rank. And no, Jaime Munguia, according to Oscar De La Hoya, is not a top-ranked fighter. He's just fighting on a top-ranked card. This card is a month away. And from my understanding, it's a WBO eliminator. So I think that makes sense for Caleb Plant to fight either Edgar Berlanga if Berlanga loses, or if not, fight Christian Mbili. I don't think that's going to happen. Fuck it. Demetrius Andre. So you listen, he's got options. Demetrius Andre, remember, he's still kicking around out there. Caleb Plant wins against McCumby. He can fight. I'm talking about something. He can fights that'll lead somewhere, possibly, or get him some clout. Berlanga, depending on how Berlanga does against Canelo, Christian Mbili, Jaime Munguia if he beats Eric Bazanian, and long shot fights, maybe Demetrius Andre or Bakhtir Malik, I always butcher his name, Malikuzayev. There you go. But for me, I think he should target Jaime Munguia if Jaime Munguia wins on September the 20th. That's what I think he should target. Or target Mbili or the winner of William Skull Shishkin for that IBF title and to get himself back in the mix. That's how I think he can, get himself to a title shot, another championship. As I said earlier, he can be a world champion again. There is a path for him, unlike I said earlier with Rolly Romero. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. Follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy. In fact, here is my Twitter, and here is what people think. By the way, look at this shit. Australia getting done dirty. So they got Nikita Zoo fighting for $70 over in Australia. And he's a prospect, fringe contender. And then look, $90. Let's see what the people have to say. When the David fight happens, it's going to be $99. I can believe it. I don't think the David fight's going to happen. I have a hard time believing it. People talking about streaming it. It's a doggone shame, man, they doing this to us. It's like they hate us. People pissed. They hate us. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I know I keep saying it, but people don't be hitting the subscribe button, man. So, I'm going to lighten up on telling you to subscribe, though I know some people find it annoying. So, all right. On to Erislandy Lara versus Danny Garcia. Now, I really like this fight. I do admit I really like Danny Garcia and Erislandy Lara. For one, Erislandy Lara is almost 42 years old. He's getting up there really long in the tooth. He's been around forever. Don't you know? He's been around since Knockout Kings 2 on PS2. He's been around 3 console generations. He was around fucking for Nintendo 64, GameCube, PlayStation 2. Xbox One, the whole generation of X. He's been around forever. Let's go look at it. Let me make sure, man, I'm not tripping. Because I remember watching him in my grandmama's house with my grandpa. 33-3 with 18 KOs, the American Dream. He's the new Gary Russell, by the way. He comes out once a year for his mandatory defense or to knock out some scrub, and then he goes back into hiding. For example, look at his last 5 fights. Ew. Probably one of the worst resumes of a champion. Ew. Look what he's done. People were mad at the Carlos Brian Castano fight too, but that turned out to age really well. So listen, he fought Canelo's balding brother, Ramon Alvarez, and if I'm correct, was that the last fight on PBC on Fox? Anyway, he fought Canelo's brother. I guess he wanted revenge for all those years, so he beat up Canelo's kinfolk. Greg Vendetti. Thomas LaManna, Gary Spike O'Sullivan, Mick Zarafa. By the way, Mick Zarafa returns next week. He's trying to get in the key to zoo. He's fighting the fucking Tommy Brown, Australian boxing. Going to be covering that with Big J. And then he's fighting Danny Garcia. So Danny Garcia is the best fight he's fought since 2019, and they've been trying to put together this Danny Garcia fight for about 3 years now. That Mick Zarafa fight was supposed to be Danny Garcia, but Mick Zarafa invoked his mandatory status. And Danny Garcia, well, one thing about Danny Garcia is he will come to fight, but he's getting long in the tooth too. Danny Garcia is like 36, or is he 37 now? Danny Garcia's been around for a while, 36. But back to what I was saying, look how long Lara's been around. 2008. Listen to this though. Listen to this. This is gonna fuck you up. He fought Paul Williams in 2011. Carlos Molina in 2011. You know how long ago that was? That's like razor phones. There wasn't even a Premier Boxing Champions. Let me see. What notable things happened in 2011? What notable events in 2011? Let's see how long this motherfucker been around. Let's see. Did they get Osama bin Laden? They talking about Charlie Sheen. I don't even think the Avengers were together yet. Well, anyway, moving on. That's how long ago that was. And look, for the most part, he has had 1, 2, 3, 4 fights. This will be his 5th fight since 2020. 5th fight since 2020. But this will be the first time he's had 2 fights in a year since 2019. That's interesting. By the way, I didn't talk about it, but Caleb Plant's resume is pretty suspect too. Well, I'm talking about as far as activity is concerned. Danny Garcia, 37-3 with 21 KOs. Jose Benavidez, that was back in 2022, so he's going to be on a 26-month layoff once he steps into the ring. Errol Spence, he was also on a near 2-year layoff when he fought Errol Spence. Ivan Radkach, Adrian Granados, and basically, you know, the biggest win he's had since 2019, since 2018, 6 years, ladies and gentlemen, has been Jose Benavidez Jr., where he won majority decision. Like Danny Garcia, Philly stand up, you know, but right now, I mean, this may be it for him. And unless Lara gets old overnight, Lara should, but then again, Lara's legs are not what they used to be. And we got to see Danny Garcia coming off this layoff. You know, does he have it in him to keep up the pressure? You know, this should be a hard camp for him. He shouldn't be like this. This should be a fight where he's training for like his career, because this could be a career match. Lara ain't no joke. And then where does where does Danny Garcia go from here? So looking at the 160-pound division, it's just all over the place. Carlos Adames, Erislandy, Lara, WBA, Janabek, Ali Mahanallah, IBF and WBO champion, damn near died of dehydration trying to make 160. I think he should have lost his belts. He was supposed to fight Andre Mikhailovich, not even about a month or so ago, but he couldn't make it to the scales. So in my opinion, if you can't make it to the scales, that's like you not making weight. The fight shouldn't, you should be stripped. So it's a division that's all over the place. And really, do you want to see like a undisputed champion? I mean, I want to see it, just so all the belts can be unified. But it's just a division that really doesn't really have anything. By the way, Chris Eubank Jr. was in talks to fight Canelo, and I think Canelo is going to fight him next. But we're seeing Chris Eubank Jr. on the Bertubiev Bevo card October the 12th, taking on the Kamil Zermeta. That's the guy who fought Golovkin several years back. So it's a division that's like really just all over the place. And if I was to say what would be next for the winner, and I'm not mentioning Terrence Crawford, I'm just not going to do it. What would be realistically next for the winner? I'm guessing Shane Mosley Jr. is the mandatory, but like, what big fight do you want to see in this division? Like, what's the super fight of the 160 pound division of fighters that are currently at 160? I mean, look, you got Adames, Lara, Ali Mahanala, Hamza Shiraz. Yeah, he's good. I like him. Chris Eubank Jr., Shane Mosley Jr. just tugging about right there. Liam Smith. It's just a dead division. Ain't nothing really there that I'm like, yo. Anytime Erislandy Lara and Danny Garcia is the interesting fight in 2024, damn near 2025, something is wrong with the division. So once again, thanks for watching. Drop a like, and we're going to be here covering this entire card. So therefore, we're almost done. We're almost done with 15 minutes left in the video. Here's this. So from everything I've been talking, is this a $90 card to you? Is this a $90 card? Roland Romero versus Jaimes, Manuel Jaimes, Caleb Plant versus a Trevor McCumby. Trevor McCumby ain't done nothing. And that's an eliminator. Erislandy Lara versus Danny Garcia. And now Canelo Alvarez versus Edgar Berlanga. So as we pointed out earlier in the video, and I'm going to play this clip again right now because Canelo has already told us he's going to fight whoever he wants to fight and do what he wants to do, because from his thought process, he's fought everybody we wanted him to fight, meaning we, the fans.
Good, and I feel proud about it.
Were you certain that you were going to be able to counterpunch so effectively?
Yeah, he's strong, but he's a little slow. I can see every punch. Sometimes he got me because I get so confident. But like I say, that's why I have this kind of experience, because that's why I'm the best. That's why I'm the best, right?
You feel you're the best Mexican fighter ever?
Huh?
Best Mexican fighter ever?
No, I don't consider myself the best fighter ever. I think when I retire in my numbers, he's gonna say where the position I am. But I respect all the Mexican fighters in the past and the press, and I feel proud about it. I just doing my thing, and
when you say the best, you mean the best fighting right now?
Right now, I'm the best fighter right now, for sure.
We're not even going to let you get a little ice because everybody wants to know what's next. And David Benavidez is the person that everybody across this country and across the world would like to see you fight. You said earlier this week you're willing. What are your thoughts now?
I don't know right now. I'm gonna rest. I'm gonna enjoy my family. But if the money is right, I made that call. If the money is right, I can fight right now. I don't give a shit.
So it's only a matter of money?
Yeah. At this point, everybody is asking for everything, right? When I fought with Lara, Troll, Miguel Angel Cotto, Mayweather, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, everybody, they say I'm not going to fight them, and I fought all of them. So right now, I can ask whatever I want, and I can do whatever I want. And I'm Mexican.
Go ahead.
So right now, I can do whatever I want. I'm Mexican. So, and here's the thing. I can dig it. I'm not going to give him too much shit, but don't be, just say you're not going to fight these guys. I understand the media and the fan backlash for saying like, no, I'm not fighting David Benavidez. I'm going to fight whoever I want to fight. Y'all been telling me to fight these guys for years. I fought Lara, I fought Cotto, I fought Golovkin when you said I wouldn't. I'm not fighting him. I fought Bevo. I'm going to fight whoever I want to fight. So for those who don't know, he was in heavy negotiations to fight Chris Eubank Jr. And those negotiations fell through. And Chris Eubank Jr. wasn't happy with the money, so he stepped away. Chris Eubank Jr. is returning on October the 12th against a former Golovkin opponent, against Kamil Zermeta, I believe that's how you pronounce his name. He was a former IBF mandatory for Golovkin. So he moved on to Edgar Berlanga. Now, Canelo, for some reason, has had a hard-on to fight Edgar Berlanga for about a couple of years now. For what, I don't know. Just trying to reignite this Mexican-Puerto Rican rivalry. Or it's looking like to me, he just sees something that be like, yeah, I can beat him. Oh, yeah, I can say I beat a young, fringe contender. I just don't get it, because Edgar Berlanga, no disrespect to him, but listen, we're not here to suck these fighters off. We're here to tell it how it is. And Edgar Berlanga has not done anything. 22-0 with 17 KOs. Predrag McCrory, yeah. Jason Quigley, Roman Gulo Alexei, he bit him, by the way. Top Rank cut him. He bit that man. I call him Cannibal Berlanga. So these are the fights that led to Canelo. Now, normally, you fight Canelo, you're coming off of some type of momentum. Like with Mayweather, you were coming off of some type of momentum, coming off of some type of big win. But in this case, or fans were asking for it, and it was like, yo, why won't you fight? And you're ducking him. But in this case, Berlanga arguably is one of the weakest opponents of Canelo recently. I mean, you can say John Ryder, but to be very honest, on some days, depending on what John Ryder, I would pick John Ryder to beat Berlanga, or to give Berlanga some issues. So when you look at it, this is, he's up there to me. I mean, I'm not going to disrespect Berlanga, say he's as bad as Avni Yildirim, but Avni Yildirim was a pushed-in mandatory, by the way. He was forced to be mandatory. But Berlanga really doesn't do anything. He doesn't move the needle. And then they're charging $90 for this shit, man. $90. Now, Canelo very clearly doesn't want any parts of Terrence Crawford. It's a win. I mean, it's a lose-lose situation, because if he wins, people are going to be like, you ain't getting no stripes. You beat up the smaller fighter, even though the fight would be a mega fight in this generation. But if he loses, it's going to be like, yo, he came up, and he beat you. And I do feel that Canelo sees something in Crawford that he could possibly lose to. Am I saying that Crawford would beat Canelo? No, but I think he can. Especially if Crawford decides to box and move around. Because as I said earlier in the video, or leading up to this fight, is that I never considered Canelo a full-fledged 168-pounder. I just think it was a division where he was very, him and his team were very good at picking the right fights. And, the guys at 168 weren't too big. And he tested the waters with Rocky Fielding and Colin Smith. And he was like, oh, yeah, I can compete up here. I can hold my own. And he doesn't have to cut weight. But realistically, I think Canelo is a 168-pounder masquerading at 168. And we saw what happened when he tried to go too far with 175. He did struggle with Vodka Belly Sergey Kovalev before he ended up knocking him out, and then Bevo just outboxed him. He never wanted no parts of David Benavidez, because he knows that if he fights David Benavidez is going to come in at 200 pounds. And also, David Benavidez, he doesn't want the backlash of putting a weight clause on David Benavidez. So then fans are going to say, oh, well, you had to drain him down. Canelo not dumb. David Morrell, same thing. I remember when they were like, when there was so many questions about if he put a weight clause on Sergey Kovalev. And from my understanding, there was, but Sergey Kovalev couldn't talk about it publicly. So Canelo doesn't want to deal with that backlash, because if he fights David Benavidez, rest assured, he's going to put clauses on him. Whether you think it's fair or not. Do I think it's fair that fighters can come in 20, 30 pounds overweight? No, but if that's the sport, if that's the fight you've been fighting, then you fight it. And Canelo's no stranger to it, because let's not forget, dun dun dun, Amir fucking Khan. He broke Amir Khan up 2 weight divisions. And remember, Canelo at one point in time had his own weight division for like a few years. Canelo weight. It all started. Let me tell you the story about Canelo weight. Canelo's first fight back after losing to Floyd Mayweather was Alfredo Angulo. The day of the weigh-in, rumors were circulating Canelo was having issues getting that last pound off. So they gave Alfredo Angulo extra money, changed the contract. Voila. The weight was now 155 pounds. Erislandy Lara, 155 pounds. James Kirkland, 155 pounds. Miguel Cotto, who was masquerading around at 160 pounds, had no business being there. He fought Miguel Cotto. They both fought 155 pounds. Amir Khan, 155. Now, during this time, the heat was on Canelo because guess who was out there? Golovkin. And his team, Golden Boy at the time, was saying he's not ready, he's too small, he's not a real 160 pounder. But then it got so bad that Canelo eventually ended up like lashing out at the WBC, and he ended up fighting Liam Smith at 154. Why did he fight Liam Smith? Because they were avoiding Golovkin. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. It was very obvious at the time. So he would rather get butt-ass naked on this. In fact, you know what? Let me show you how bad it was, because I think visual representation will help you. Visual representation will help you. Here's Exhibit A. So he was ducking Golovkin so bad at one point that he boiled down to 154 and got butt-ass naked on the scale just to avoid Golovkin. But it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. Doesn't end there. Cinnamon stick all for the world to see. So let's go look at the resume. So do you see this here? And then look. All of a sudden, in May, he fights at a weird catch weight. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. at 164.5. So you can fight at 160. Then he goes to fight Golovkin, and guess what? A lot of people thought Golovkin won this fight, but it ended up being a draw. You see what I'm saying? Beats Golovkin, then like, all right, you know what? 168. Goes back down for Danny Jacobs. Kovalev 175. Hey, I can do good at 175. Knocks him out in 11. As you can see, look at these cards. Kovalev was up on 2 of them. Colin Smith beat his arm up. Avni Yildirim, mandatory. Billy Joe Saunders beat his eye to shit. Billy Joe Saunders ain't been seen shit since. Got fat as shit. Caleb Plant was circling around waiting for this payday for a long time. Beat him up. Moved up to 175. Got outboxed by Dimitri Bivol. Beat up old Golovkin. Golovkin looked like shit. Was done. Retired. Some strange, scary rumors circulating around that has since been denied the last 24 hours or so, that Turki Al-Sheikh, His Excellency, was looking to stage Golovkin versus Terrence Crawford. John Ryder, Jamel Charlo made him move up 2 divisions, but then won't fight Terrence Crawford. So I think it's pretty clear right now, Canelo's probably got 3 fights left in him. Who I think he's going to fight is, he's fighting Berlanga. Then I think he's going to fight Chris Eubank Jr. because he already started those negotiations. Chris Eubank Jr. is just in a stay busy fight. And then who was that last fight going to be? I don't know. Who else has he had a hard on for? But I don't see it being David Benavidez. I don't see that. And Canelo's already made a lot of money. I won't be surprised if Canelo fight Erislandy Lara. Y'all want to see that? Y'all want to see Canelo versus Erislandy Lara 168? For Canelo's last fight? Is it too late? Did that ship sail? But with that being said, I'm not fully counting Edgar Berlanga out. I just think he's just unworthy of a $90 pay-per-view. You see what I'm saying? If this was a regular TV fight like the old days, you know how every now and then a fighter like De La Hoya or even Mike Tyson, would fight on, a low tier opponent on regular like broadcast network like a HBO or Showtime, because they were like, all right, this is not really a pay-per-view fight. This is what this Edgar Berlanga card should have been. That should have been like, we're going to give y'all one. And no telling how much Canelo's guaranteed for this fight. So with that being said, go on and follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy. It was nice talking to you guys. Nice little long fucking $90. They losing it, man. They losing it. And look, people pissed. They're begging people to stream these fights. So by the way, follow me on Twitter at TstreeT Controversy. Boom, that's me right there. The link is down below in the description box. And also, here's my Facebook. Let's see what people are saying about Canelo. What's my Facebook? Why is it not loading? There you go. Let's see what people are saying. People pissed. I like the undercard more than the actual fight. What up, DJ Notion? Goddamn, undercard is stacked. This looks like, I think the undercard is just smoke and mirrors to me. You can say it's stacked, but really stacked with what? Damn. And then you got UFC on the same night. This pay-per-view is going to do 300,000 pay-per-view buys. I doubt at 250. We're talking stateside pay-per-view buys. That's what I believe. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I am TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360.